swear, it's only this stream that this happens on. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the most interactive wrestling stream on the interweb. Welcome back to Wrestling with Omer. We have a whole bunch of crap to talk about today. We're going to be diving deep into AEW Dynamite from last night. In my opinion, the best 2 hours of wrestling television. Oh my God, we're going to be talking about it. We got Job in the chat. Welcome, Job. Good to see you. He's like, hey, bud, I'm here. No Trev. Trevor is on the Tuesday show, so let me make you just a little bit bigger. So Trevor and I do the Tuesday show together, so you will be seeing him on Tuesday, and I definitely want to get his thoughts on all of this. But guys, you guys know the rules. Be sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that notification bell. Also, you want to make sure, guarantee your question gets answered ad nauseum with a long-ass answer. Leave a super chat. We're going to be prioritizing those moving forward as we get right into it. AEW Dynamite last night. I had a blast watching this show, and that's putting it like lightly. I thought that this was the most entertaining 2 hours of wrestling television all year. That includes WWE. That includes all of AEW's previous shows. This was awesome. Absolutely, like, freaking fantastic. I mean, the term, AEW restoring the feeling has come up a few times recently. I don't think it is as true as it has been over the last few weeks. The last few weeks of Dynamite, and the turning point for me was a show they did in Fairfax, Virginia. That was, I believe, the first show right after AEW. Or sorry, no, it wasn't the first show after Las Vegas. It was, I think, the second show after Double or Nothing. But they do this show, and you could tell, like, the vibe was different. The feeling was different. The way the show was structured was very different from almost the past 2 years of AEW television. And that was the show that very infamously got 500,000 viewers. I was actually at the Juneteenth show, actually. So I guess it wasn't 2 weeks after Double or Nothing. Regardless, that show, I said, if AEW books their TV, continues to book their TV, like they did on that night, they have nothing to worry about because the product will be better, their ratings will get better, and the fans will be better off for that. Now, they've been running a very similar type of formula here, and I think go back and think about when AEW was at their best, right? Back in 2020, 2021, the thing that separated AEW from WWE was that it is must-see television because you don't know what's going to happen. For the things you know are going to happen, you were excited for, and you don't know what's going to happen next. Like that people like to overuse the term storytelling to say that, oh my God, like you need to have bloodline level stuff or whatever. No, I mean, storytelling for me is pretty simple. I don't need like freaking 80 people involved in this intricate storyline. That's cool, and I think it works really well for the bloodline and what they're doing. But week-to-week storytelling, it doesn't require that. It just requires telling logical stories that people can get invested in. And that is the difference between AEW last year, for the most part, and then this year. I think they have gotten back to that. And, man, last night's show was insane. I think that Job asks a very intelligent question in the chat. What do you attribute that to? New writers, the guy Tony hired from WWE. I attribute that to here's the thing. We obviously don't know. This is like speculation. But for me, I think that over time, like AEW last year, one of the things they tried to do more was to push storylines, but more sports entertainment-y storylines than anything else. And personally, I love that kind of stuff. Like if it's like one or two things on the show. I thought that Adam Cole, MJF, like from like June to right when Adam Cole got injured, basically, I thought that was some of the most compelling and awesome, cool, fun to watch stuff on all of TV. But when you do that, and then you continue to do that with your other storylines, and you continue to force the issue when the story isn't there, and we have Adam Cole who's injured, and like it's just not it's not in the cards. Actually, no, let's move that back to where it was, not on my face. Let's not. But like when you overdo it, you're going to turn some people off. And I think that's genuinely part of the reason that AEW kind of fell through. The other big one is like they lost a lot of their big stars that they are now getting back. Hangman Page was off of TV for a few months. Kenny Omega has been off of TV for a few months. Britt Baker's been off of TV since September. Adam Cole has been injured since September. Like Jamie Hayter, arguably their most popular women's star when she lost the belt at Double or Nothing over a year ago, injured. So when you have most of your big time talent injured, like it is going to take a hit regardless of how big your company is. And I don't think that AEW bolstered the depth in the right way. I think they had the talent as far as the depth goes, but they did not do a good job of placing that depth in good positions to succeed. I think that what we've seen over the last number of weeks has been a bit of a reset for AEW. And you want to talk about restoring the feeling, I think they have done just that. Like, this is last night's episode of Dynamite. It, to me, was an all-time level show. Like, top 3 all time. I think if you go on Cage Match, if you're someone who's into that kind of thing, if you go on Cage Match, like they are, like last night's Dynamite is the 5th highest rated Dynamite of all time amongst fans. So, like it was a special show. Like I think Job earlier on had highlighted some of the big things. You had Hangman, MJF, The Elite, even Jericho is much watched every week. Well, for some of us, I thought that was the weakest point of the show. But I also understand, like, look, whatever reason, Chris Jericho draws ratings. It is what it is. I can't argue with that logic. He is for some people. We got Takara in the chat. Good to see you. We got Sil in the chat saying, the show was picking up. The ratings didn't give it any justice 2 weeks ago when they put on a solid show. Yeah, like that was that Fairfax show that I was talking about. I thought that was a fantastic show. And look, the ratings for last night's episode may be low as well. Like, if we're being honest, like it's very well possible that given like the 4th of July holiday, not weekend, but like, you know, like the holiday kind of started yesterday. So ratings might be lower, depends. But I mean, like it's still better than being on 4th of July. If AEW Dynamite was on tonight, it would be a bad rating. It just is kind of like that on these holidays. It's tougher. It's why like a few years ago when AEW first started, and remember, like they actually took Christmas off because the Wednesday night was a Christmas in 2019. They just like did not have the show at all on Christmas, and then they just came back the next week and the ratings were strong. So sometimes it's sometimes it's just probably better not to have the show. But yeah, I mean, last night was freaking spectacular. And like the thing is, we knew they were gonna like even looking at like that card. Let me see if I can actually find a photo of that card, because that I looked at that card and I was immediately like, oh my god, like this thing is gonna hit like next level. Let me see. Oh, here we go. I found it. I found it, guys. Don't you worry, guys. I found it. I did a thing where it's live TV, kind of. Let's just pull this baby up. And all right, so this was the card. Let me make that a little bit smaller. But like this was the card for Dynamite last night. Like look at this. You're like look at how awesome this is. You have Will Ospreay, Daniel Garcia in a match they've been building up for weeks in the main event for the international title. Stakes right there. Then you have stakes with 3 Owen Hart Cup tournament matches with Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander, who have been building up a feud for weeks now. Pac versus Bryan, and with the Owen Hart Cup on the line, a trip to the finals on the line, and Pac versus Bryan for the first time in over 15 years. Then you have Jeff Jarrett, who's been telling this awesome story about how he wants to win the Owen to honor his his late best friend, in Owen Hart, and the wild card, who that Elite teased that it was going to be Hangman Page, and it was Hangman Page. And on top of that, we got a Mercedes double championship celebration. Britt Baker, DMD, doing a promo on Dynamite. We knew that in some way, shape, or form, MJF was going to be on there. Like, how could you not tune into this show? Like, just looking at that. That is what made All Elite Wrestling special, because you would look at the card like a few days in advance, or even the day of, you would look at the card and you'd be like, I gotta watch this. Like, and it wasn't like oh my God, I gotta watch this because I'm a sicko. It was, I have to watch this because this is like, holy shit, this is awesome professional wrestling. So I like that card, and the fact that they were in Chicago, they had a really good house in Chicago for the Wintrust Arena with 5,000 people. Like, that crowd was eating up every single thing that was put before them. And look, AEW's had some really hot crowds lately. Like, that Fairfax crowd that I was talking about was really loud for only like 3,000 people. I was at Long Island for Forbidden Door. Loudest crowd reaction for a main event, like continuous reaction for a main event I've ever heard in my life. Then, like, this week in Chicago, the fans were like eating it up. They absolutely loved it. So we'll see. I see that Job asked another question. Do you think AEW can maintain this momentum, or do you think they'll slip back into mediocrity? All of that is up to one man, and his name is Tony Khan. It is all dependent on how Tony books the show. If he books the show like he has been, like telling these, like, because even like back in the day, like the continuous storylines, which we got away from in 2023, let's be honest. You would see someone in one segment, they would not be there the entire night. That's how 2023 AEW was booked. And yet here we are, and like we're getting like people coming in and out the entire night. And these segments that feel big, like that Britt Baker Mercedes segment that we'll talk about in just a second, slapped. Like, that was exactly what it needed to be. And one of the things that, like, I have always, like, said about wrestling, like, and it's been a criticism that I used to have about WWE that I levied towards the AEW in like recent months, was that was good, maybe, but, like, I feel like almost everything on the show can be better. When AEW was at its peak, that was not a criticism that you could levy towards them, right? Like, in good faith, at least. You could always be like, they could have done something better. But, like, you know, like, that. But last night, that was, like, a genuine thing. Like, it hit. Everything hit. Exactly the tone it needed to. Kept you engaged. Kept you waiting to see what the hell was going to happen next. As James Price in the chat says, 10 out of 10 show. And look, I'm hooked. I love this. And we got Saturday Night Collision. MJF opening the show after that brutal beatdown of Daniel Garcia. It's going to be in the same time as Money in the Bank. I don't even know. I was going to do a live stream of Money in the Bank, like a watch along or whatever. But now I'm just like, man, I just want to watch Collision. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch both. We'll see. We got Sil in the chat saying, for ratings purposes, I feel like they didn't promote MJF as being part of the main event. Perhaps they didn't want to make MJF heel turn seem obvious. Yeah, I mean, I guess, I think like it wasn't announced that he was going to be at the show, but like I think MJF had like said on Twitter or something, like, I think he had alluded to it. But yeah, I mean, like, they didn't announce him. I think it's good though to kind of just expect MJF. Like MJF is a guy who you shouldn't need to announce for a show. He's just there. Like Like the Elite. They don't announce the Elite for every show. They don't announce like this big segment, but like that the Elite are going to be there. They're going to be on Dynamite. I think it should be the same thing. Like no matter what, expect MJF to be there. Maybe don't expect him on Collision. That's why I think they announced him on Collision. But if it's Dynamite, that dude is there unless otherwise like told not, right? I think that's like maybe the vibe they're going for, but yeah, we'll see. We got Wall Street Money saying, I don't think ratings will be high this week, but next week they will go up. I mean, look, the ratings discourse, the reason I talk about them on the channel in videos is to break down the business aspect of it, right? And kind of discuss like how it impacts potential TV deal, also how, it impacts like, or like what potentially part of the show actually influenced that rating and whether or not fans were engaged. Like those are interesting things for me to talk about but I'm not one to be like, oh my God, like these ratings are like, AEW Dynamite is still a highly rated show for its time slot. It's just the truth. Like I remember back in the day, like back in the day, I mean like 5 years ago in 2019, when they first announced this deal with TNT and TBS, Warner Brothers Discovery, or Warner Brothers at the time, I think like the benchmark that was thrown around there, like the expected ratings or that they would have been happy with was like 500,000, and the fact that they were able to get like 1 million people tuning in was crazy. So, Takara, I did not see your Ricochet comment. It's not showing up in my chat at least, but feel free to leave it again. I will be more than happy to answer that. Yeah, crazy. I know Tony has a final say, but who are the people who wrote and pitched ideas for him? Chris Daniels, the wrestlers themselves. So Tony has like a committee of people. Like there's Jimmy Jacobs, there's Jimmy for the writing team is like Jimmy Jacobs, Jerry Lynn, Will Washington, formerly of Grapsity. Like there's a few people that are kind of part of that inner creative team. At the end of the day, though, like it is Tony Khan who comes up with a bunch of these ideas, right? As well. Let's see what else we got. We got Takara. Omar, did you see my Ricochet comment? I did not see your Ricochet comment, my friend. Please leave it again. I said Ricochet is rumored to join the Don Callis family or the Elite family. Yeah, that could be a rumor. I could see him joining the Don Callis family maybe as like a dig at him at what's his name? Will Ospreay. But see, I think the more interesting storyline could be that MJF joins the Don Callis family. That would give this evil version of MJF like his lackeys, but also, right, think of a better like heel pairing than MJF and Don Callis. Like literally the devils in the flesh, like these two. I mean, again, I think it's probably better for MJF to be by himself for a little bit here, considering he's literally said, I don't want to be near anyone, but we'll see. How long do you think till MJF gets an opportunity to get his belt back? I think he's chasing the international title. I think he's chasing the international title for right now. So I think it might be a while. Like I could see him like I know it sounds weird. People are like, oh my God, like, why you gotta wait this long? I don't think MJF's gonna be in the world title picture probably until Ospreay wins it, and I don't see Ospreay winning it until like at least like the end of the year. Will Omega and Okada at All In happen this year? Probably not. As far as we know, again, like we are still 7 weeks out from All In. I will be there live, but as far as we know, Omega is pretty far away from recovering from diverticulitis. Hopefully, he will soon. But the number one thing is obviously his health. But I would not bet on Okada versus Omega at All In. I think it will happen. Like Omega's first match back from injury will be with Kazuchika Okada, but I just don't see it happening on this time frame, especially considering like Kenny like doesn't seem to be near ready. I've already tried to give MJF a team. It didn't work. Yeah, look, that's why I said, like, yeah, it's probably better for him to be by himself for a little bit. Like, so, I mean, look, we're just talking here. It's okay. Hi, bro. What are your thoughts on the Bloodline getting suspended for their attack on Paul Heyman? Roman Reigns returning in WWE soon, and what's this? Ask Jimmy Uso. Jimmy, I don't know. We haven't really heard much about Jimmy Uso, but I expect him to be back relatively soon. For Roman, I think probably we won't get him till SummerSlam. I think then, because I think the plan is eventually to do Cody versus Solo for the belt. And I could see a world where Roman kind of returns it, like, be like, Solo, the hell are you talking about? Your bloodline. I'm the tribal chief. And then that's what I think they build up, bloodline civil war. And give me Solo's bloodline on one side and then the OG bloodline on the other, War Games, Survivor Series. That would be epic from my view. The Elite shouldn't have too many members, but they should use their power to hire enforcers because it's kind of small in size and strength. I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of what they do, right? Like, they made deals with the heels. Christian Cage has kind of weirdly aligned himself with the Elite, like, pleasure doing business with you, all that kind of stuff. We've seen as well. Chris Jericho did that this past Wednesday night. So I think they have, like, little, like, one-off deals that they do. Like, they have partnerships. I think that's a good way to put it. Knowing that Will Ospreay lobbied for the main event of the pay-per-view makes me love Ospreay even more. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was, I think, a Fightful report that came out about that. That was really cool. It's cool when, like, when we are in an era in wrestling where, like, that would, like that in the 90s would, like, be, people would laugh at you if you tried to do that in the 90s, right? Because the mentality back then was, just you look out for yourself, right? That's why you had so much selfishness in wrestling. And, like, one of the key characteristics of top people in professional wrestling was, like, that selfishness. That's why Hogan's, it's not going to work for me, brother. But Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland are friends. I think, like myself, Ospreay is probably sick and tired of hearing that crap about, Swerve being a transitional champion. He's like, let's cement it. And they did, with what I believe to be the best match of the year so far. Like, genuinely, I think that was the best match of the entire year. Do you think Mina and Tanahashi stick around for a while? Tanahashi, no. I mean, he's actually, like, the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, so he's got his hands tied. I think he was only there to do Forbidden Door and, like, that partnership. We might see him pop up again closer to Wrestle Dynasty in January, but I don't see him coming back right now. Remember, that was the best episode of Dynamite. Hey, man, we're going to talk about it because we're not done talking about that episode of Dynamite. That was an insane... again, one of my favorite episodes of Dynamite, but also one of the best episodes of Dynamite they've ever done. Genuinely. Ever done. The best. Let me stop. Let me not do the Trump impressions. F Trump. Anyway, MJF has turned heel again. It's clear that Ospreay is the new face of AEW. I think that if on one side you have Will Ospreay as the babyface and MJF as the heel face of AEW, that's a hell of an era. And God, we'll get to that segment. But I don't know. I love good wrestling, man. I freaking love good wrestling. I love good wrestling. Sorry, just got to send one thing real quick. And we are back. All right. What else y'all got here? Guys, remember, if you haven't already done so, be sure to leave a thumbs up on this video. Helps more people see the stream. Helps build my self-esteem. You want to guarantee your question is read out, answered on the air. Be sure to leave a super chat. Let's see. We got Job asking, who's going to win the Owen Hart tournament? Eric actually answering, saying, I say final is Danielson, Hangman, Willow, Mariah. I know this is obvious. I'm sorry. I mean, I think, look, obvious isn't bad in this case because you have two big, huge matches, right? I don't think there's a wrong way to go about this with the Owen as far as the men go. I think for the women's side, like Mariah May should win because you not only make Mariah May, but you also set up that big match that everyone's kind of been waiting for. They've been building up slowly but surely between herself and Toni Storm. Like, I think that's the match for All In. I think it's going to absolutely blow the roof off the place. For the men's, like, again, this is like, again, where like either Danielson or Hangman you can't go wrong with, because on one end, right, with Hangman Page, him and Swerve are magic money, and you could tell the story of like the only reason Hangman Page came back. It's not for the elite. It's not for any of this. It is to get to Swerve Strickland. It is to punish Swerve Strickland. It is to ensure that Swerve doesn't leave London as the AEW World Champion. I think that's an extremely compelling story. But I hope it doesn't happen. I'll be honest with you. Look, I don't want it to happen. Brian, I don't care what you got to do. Andrew Zarian was on his podcast earlier this week, and he's like, they need to do like a reverse Montreal screw job on Brian, because he's like notorious for saying, like, I don't want to win. I don't want to win the belt. And I'm just like, no, reverse Montreal screw job this dude. Like, make Aubrey do a 1, 2, a quick 3 count. Put the belt on Brian. Like, and I say that like mostly joking, but like I'm also like, please, like, please, I just want to see Bryan Danielson win a belt. No, so here's the thing. I think the Bryan Danielson, like, retirement thing is there's a lot you could do there, because you have Bryan win the AEW World Championship at All In, right, against Swerve. Then you could build, like, for the next month or two leading up to Wrestle Dream, Bryan's last match, Wrestle Dream. And it's going to be a rematch between him and Swerve. And, like, or you could, like, even tell a story like, hey, look, I know I said I'd retire, Birdie, but, like, hey, until someone beats me, I'm sticking around, because that's what champions do. And I think the perfect place to end that run for Bryan, the perfect place, in my view, would be Tacoma Dome, Seattle, Washington. The perfect opponent would be Swerve. That'd be a hell of a main event. It would sell out the Tacoma Dome, and I will be there if that is happening. I mean, I'll probably be there regardless, because it's probably going to be where Bryan's last match is. But I would say Bryan. You cannot go wrong with Hangman. I will enjoy Hangman as well, but I just want to see Bryan be a champion. That's it. He's the, in my view, the greatest wrestler of all time. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. Like, there's no one better than Bryan Danielson. So, more belts. Put every single title on him. Let's go. We got still saying for the women, Willow for Wembley and Mariah May for All Out. Ooh. I understand that, though. I like, and again, I think that's not a situation where you can go wrong, but I think Mariah May is what they've been building up, right? You got Eric Douglas saying, do you think Mariah and Toni understand that if May wins or Mariah wins, they have to face each other? I think you could see over the past few weeks that reality is becoming more and more clear. And the way that, like, Mariah's been looking at Toni has gotten a bit like more contentious. And then Luther, of course, just like, I don't trust her at all. Hangman look wild. Nigel versus Bryan should be his retirement match. I mean, look, we say retirement, but here's the deal, Jack. Bryan said that he still plans on wrestling, like, between 7 to 9 times a year. He's still going to be around, but he's just not going to be wrestling week to week on Dynamite. I think that's like what he means. He's done as a full-time wrestler. Takara asks, you smoking anything on the grill, brother? Not today. Not today. I think there's like a barbecue I'm going to tomorrow, though. So it's going to be fun. But if I was gonna be, it would be halal hot dogs and some nice grilled chicken, some like chicken roast. Love me some good chicken roast. Um, the next pay per view is London, right? Yep. Next pay per view is London, guys. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a super chat to help support the show. Let's move on and talk about like the show last night, because I I feel like we've been talking about like all this stuff that's possible. I just want to also start talking about the show. So, show opens up cold open. Daniel Garcia promo. Daniel Garcia promo with him and Daddy Magic being interviewed by Renee Paquette, and Daniel Garcia says, "I'm not leaving tonight without the AEW World Championship." And you could hear that crowd in Chicago eating it up. MJF comes out. He's obviously been like kind of in Daniel Garcia's corner almost. Like he's been like, rooting for him. He said, "Daniel, I see a lot in you." And we've been seeing like those two kind of get closer and closer. And he says, "Hey, man, please do me the honor of letting me be in your corner tonight for your international championship match." Daniel Garcia says yes. And then we get this cool face-off between Daddy Magic and MJF. And Daddy Magic says, "Hey, I didn't trust you at first. It's my Daddy Magic. I didn't trust you at first. But, what you've done for Nanny over the past few weeks, you earned my respect, kid." So, like, he's got the blessing of Daddy. He's got the blessing of Danny. MJF, it said, is going to be in the corner of Daniel Garcia in the world title, or in the international title match, excuse me. And that was a great way, I thought, of, like, opening the show with MJF, your biggest star, and then, like, making sure people know, like, hey, we're going to close the show as well with MJF, our biggest star. Like, that is key. That was a great decision. And then we open up with Pac versus Bryan. 17 minutes of spectacular wrestling. I thought this may have been my favorite TV match of the year, because these two went out there and put an absolute clinic on. The fans were eating it up. People were absolutely losing their minds. I was losing my mind. The near falls were insane. And it kind of goes to show, like, obviously Bryan won, but man, Pac is like one of those guys where no matter what situation you're in, no matter what situation he's in, you need someone who's a threat to be in the main event. He's going to be ready every single time. That aura, that mystique, like, is still there. He's got like a main event vibe about him. And he's not someone who's like ever really been built up for the main event. He's had one world title match, right, in all the time that he's been in AEW, and that was that Double or Nothing 2021 match between himself, Orange Cassidy, and Kenny Omega. So, like, it's insane that he is still at that point, even though he hasn't really, like, been too prevalent in the main event picture. I think he should get there. Like, I remember, like, the first guy to like come out and say like, "Hey, I want the AEW World Championship," like at that All Out press conference in 2019, it was Pac. He wanted to be the guy. He wanted that shot at the AEW World Championship, and he's only gotten one so far. So that's a guy I think Pac should be the champion at some point, because he's just so good, and he's done a lot for the company. But we love that. Pac is an AEW original, absolutely. I think that there's a lot. Excuse me. Ooh. But I think, like, man, there's a lot to be done with Pac. Let's talk next, though, about this Britt Baker Mercedes Moné segment that people are already in the chat going, still is like, that Moné Britt segment was fire. And it was. It was amazing. The Britt transition segment and the Moné interruption with Young Bucks was beautiful. This was amazing. I lost my mind sitting on my couch watching this, because Britt Baker comes out, first time she's been on Dynamite since September, and gives this like very heartfelt, like, promo that, she at one point felt like, I can't wrestle. Like, she talks about having like this mini stroke, this syndrome that like makes her susceptible to a stroke, and like the numbness that like went up and down her arm, and fighting back from that, and Tony Khan being like, you can't get well. Like please get better. And she ties in that entire journey that she's been on over the last few months into, and I come back and suddenly everyone's talking about the other face of the AEW women's division, a new face of the AEW women's division, and of course Mercedes Moné. And Britt Baker basically says yeah, I'm here to reclaim my spot. And right as she says that, right, we hear the beep 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 of a car horn, and we see on the Titantron car pull up, Mercedes come out at interrupting Britt Baker, and then she walks in front of the Wintrust Arena, right there on McCormick for all of you in Chicago, and meets up with Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, who welcome her. And at this point, I'm geeking out because I'm like, yo, they did it. The thing we've been waiting for, Mercedes Moné being a heel. And again, heels in AEW, what do? They make deals and align themselves with the Young Bucks. So Mercedes does that. She cements herself as a heel here, and she's reveling in it too. And then the Elite are just all right, yeah, get Mercedes' celebration ready. And while Britt's still in the ring, you see the AEW crew come out with balloons, come out with pictures of Mercedes, portraits of Mercedes to put in the ring and decorate for Mercedes' celebration. And Britt just got done pouring her heart and soul out, and it's just been stomped on all over by the Elite and by Mercedes Moné, who then comes out enjoying her celebration, and we get a hell of a promo exchange between these two. Mercedes talking about I'm a double champion. Then we got Britt Baker just being I'm an AEW original. And then what was the line? I'm trying to remember the line now. Now I'm just excited to talk about wrestling. I'm giddy, guys. I'm so giddy. There was that line where Mercedes, Britt Baker was I want you at All In, TBS Championship. And Mercedes says, get in line. And Britt Baker calling back to a Sasha Banks line from WWE when I think she was confronting Nia Jax. She just looks over her shoulder and goes, bitch, what line? And I was like, yo. That was so freaking cool. I cannot wait for this, man. You have your two biggest female stars in the company, period, who are going to go out there and put on a spectacular show at All In with stakes on the line. This is it. And we've been talking about the women's division for a long time in AEW. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs for 5 years. You have what it takes, just book them. And we're finally seeing it. We have three segments that are three storylines, three different storylines that are being advanced tonight that were being advanced last night throughout the show involving women. Toni Storm and Mariah May. We had Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander, and then we also had Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné. This is what we have been asking for. It's not just good enough to put matches on TV. Give me stories. Give me a reason to invest. Give them a backstory so the matches mean even more. That's what I want. And that's what AEW is giving me. Let's go, baby. Do you think it's for both belts or just TBS? I think this one's just TBS. I think that the New Japan Strong belt, that's a separate thing. The whole Britt Moné segment was damn. Yeah, no, these, if you haven't seen the segment, go watch it. I mean, after the show, go watch it. It's spectacular. It was an amazing promo exchange. My God. By God. Sakara, going back to the Daddy Magic thing, I love how he got in Daddy Magic's head and then boom, and just attacked him. Oh my God, dude, poor Daddy Magic. He was just trying to protect his son, Daniel Garcia. He was just trying to protect his wee little lad. Yeah, man. Oh God, what else? So much happened on that show. I'm trying to remember because I mean, we all know what happened at the end. Will Ospreay, actually. We can talk about this. Ospreay was backstage with Kyle Fletcher, and Callis comes out, and he's like, hey, man, hey, champ, you ready for a match? And Ospreay says, hey, man, look, I'm not going to lie. I told you not to be out there for my match on Sunday, and it kind of broke my heart when I saw you. I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I'm going to have to go my own way. And you can see, as they embrace, Don Callis like, all right, man, do what you got to do. Don Callis got that evil look in his eye. They're building something up here with the Don Callis family and Will Ospreay. I think that's the long-term booking here. We're getting something between these two. Like that's going to be like the villains that he's going to be going against over the next few months. I think Will Ospreay is. Eric Douglas asks, any news on Jamie Hayter? I heard she's ready and waiting for a storyline. That was that was kind of floated out there. We'll see. Hopefully she's look, if she's ready, even if she's not ready to compete, I would have her come out at All In. Let's say if she's estimated to be cleared by September, have her show up at All In. Just be like, all right, we're just gonna have her show up, have this huge moment, whatever the Mercedes Britt outcome is, have her come out and be like, oh, this is my division, baby. Don't forget about Jamie Hayter. She was arguably surpassing Britt. I think Jamie was doing a fantastic job. She was definitely in a position of great power in that women's division. That's for damn sure. Anyway, so much great stuff happened. We also had Owen Hart Cup, Jeff Jarrett, who again telling the story of him wanting to win this for his fallen friend Owen Hart. They played this 9-minute video package on social media. They only played a few minutes of it on Collision last week, but the whole 9-minute thing is beautiful. And the question was, who's going to be the wild card? The Elite had said they're going to handpick the wild card. It's going to be someone they're really close to. And out comes evil Hangman Adam Page. And we get a new theme, grimacing, Hangman clenching his teeth the entire time, grimacing. A new attitude, a new perspective, a new Hangman Adam Page. This is evil Hangman Adam Page. He was aggressive. He beat the ever-living snot out of Jeff Jarrett in this moment where they actually made Jeff Jarrett the face for this match. And I thought this was Jeff Jarrett's best match he's had in AEW. I think this might be his best moment. He at one point reversed, I believe it was a dead eye into a sharpshooter, and that was insane switch up right there. And then of course Hangman Adam Page, he hits. So here's the thing, Hangman Page hits Jarrett at the end with a buckshot lariat. Could have just pinned him. Jarrett was out. But it wasn't enough. He then just starts walloping him, punching him. And Jarrett literally unconscious, defenseless. And then Hangman Page delivers an unnecessary dead eye, cementing the fact that he's not here to win. He's angry. And the reason for his anger is actually a guy who was not there tonight. It was the AEW World Champion, Swerve Strickland. Hangman Page is angry because Swerve Strickland was able to do and get away with everything that he did. Break into Hangman's house. Bloody up Hangman. Make it so personal with Hangman that Hangman felt like the only appropriate response was to drink his blood. And yet, the adulation is not with Hangman. The sympathy is not with Hangman. The world title is not with Hangman. Swerve has done horrendous things to Hangman Page personally, and the universe has rewarded him with all of the glory, all of the gold that it possibly could. And he resents that. This is not a Hangman Page who is about, overcoming his demons. This is the demon. This is the evil version of Hangman Page that we were all wondering, would he be able to pull this off? I think we got our question answered last night. We got Wall Street says Hangman was badass. Absolutely. Who should win at Wembley? Ospreay or MJF? I don't think it matters. I mean, I think it would be really cool to see MJF win. I think that could be cool. Who gets Kyle in a divorce? I think the Don Callis family gets him. I think Don Callis family gets him until Mark Davis comes back, and then we get a reunion for Aussie Open. Sorry, United Empire. Hi, should AEW bring back Mick Foley as general manager? I don't think they can. I think he's still under a Legends deal with the WWE. Also, I don't think they need a general manager. I think, look, have Tony Khan be in like Shivani's ear and just like doing it. We don't need an on-screen authority figure, I don't think. Heyman literally tapped early just to keep the belt off of Swerve. The pettiness that run through that man's veins for Swerve Strickland is the next level. Absolutely. Hi, bro. What do you think AEW should bring in Drew Gulak? Oh, was Drew Gulak released? Oh, he was released. What am I talking about? Yeah, I remember that. I covered it. I was like, yeah. Maybe, but I don't know. There's a little bit of baggage there, I guess, but I don't know. We'll see. But we got that, and then Hangman goes backstage. The Elite come up to him like, hey, Hanger, good to see you, pal. And he gets in their face. He's like, I'm not here for you. I don't care about your games. I don't care about this, Matt. I don't, like, he's saying, like, I don't want to be a part of your team at Blood and Guts. And he's like, basically, without saying the words, he says, I want Swerve. And he just walks away. And then, like, the EVPs are like, oh, okay, well, damn. All right, cool, Hanger. Like, we love you. Cut this. And Hangman says, like, a very interesting line there. He's like, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, you can't just, like, call me up, like, at any time. Like, and I was like, you know, that's true. Because Hangman was, like, almost, like, I'm not going to say the baby of the group, but, like he was, like, when the Elite was, like, running around in 2018, 2019, he was the youngest person, the least established person. And I think now it's like, I'm here, bro. Look at me. I'm just as good as any of you. And it's the truth. So, yeah. Fantastic freaking show, man. Like, we're not even done talking about it. We also had, oh, God, I'm tired. I'm like getting winded talking about it. This is a great episode of AEW. But we also had the main event, Daniel Garcia, Will Bloody Ospreay, Chicago for the International Championship, MJF and Daddy Magic in Daniel Garcia's corner. Epic matchup. Like, these two have really good chemistry. I want to see this down the line for sure. But I just like that was my first take. I was like, man, these two are just killing it here together. But fantastic match. We kind of like wrap up the end of the match. We had MJF at multiple points take the Dynamite Diamond ring, place it on the canvas, and tell Daniel Garcia to do what needs to be done if he wants to be a champion in AEW. Daniel Garcia takes the ring, looks at it, puts it on his finger, and then says, I can't do it, Max. Which then leads to Daniel Garcia eating a hidden blade. 1, 2, 3, he loses. MJF going like, come on, man. Come on, kid. But Will Ospreay thanks Daniel Garcia for the match. They show some respect. And then MJF gets into the ring, and he's kind of pep talking him. He's like, hey, man, look, it's okay. It's okay. You still got this. You will win that belt. And they hug. They embrace. And then MJF low blows Daniel Garcia and proceeds to beat the piss out of this man. And Daddy Magic comes up, try to help Daniel Garcia, takes a Dynamite Diamond ring, smack to the face, busts him wide open. It looks like he was bleeding from his eyes, which is crazy. Like, he's gone. There's no one to protect Daniel Garcia, who then gets pulverized, victimized, brutalized by this animalistic MJF. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. Like, he wanted you to know that he was here to inflict Kane. He's not here to play around. He's not here to be a nice guy. He's here to be that fucking heel. That fucking heel that won the AEW World Championship in 2022. That fucking heel that got as far as he did in AEW. That fucking heel who became the best. He pulverizes Daniel Garcia. He then is about to do it even more until Will Ospreay comes up and you know, fights him off. And then we get MJF, shirt off, angry, fighting with fans. He tossed like phones out of people's hands in the crowd, and these poor fans are leaving home without phones. You get him like pushing people, like fans getting in his face, him throwing trash on fans. We got back to MJF being the biggest heel in pro wrestling. I also read that if Vince does buy AEW, his first pay-per-view main event, I mean, come on now. I'm going to be so real with you. Vince could not afford AEW. Remember this. The Khan family is like, the net worth of the Khan family is like, what, $8 billion? Let me see. Of Shahid Khan. $11.8 billion is the net worth of Shahid Khan. Vince McMahon net worth, here we go, $2.9 billion. And considering who Vince McMahon is, I don't think Tony Khan would allow that company to be sold. Yeah, no. That ain't happening. But what is happening is MJF is a heel. Is it me, or did MJF kind of have the Wolverine look? I mean, he had that even when he returned. He got like the little, like, yeah, he's been looking a little Wolverine-y. Where the F is Parker? Boudreaux? Are you talking about Parker Boudreaux? Yeah, he got released like 2 months ago. If that's who you're talking about. Oh, Angel. Oh, okay. Sorry. It's like Parker Boudreaux? No, you're talking about Angela Parker. Cool Hand Ange is at home with his wife, Ruby Soho, who I think they're preparing to have a baby. So it would make sense that he's not there. Like he's preparing to have a baby. Shout out to them, by the way. Yeah, I saw MJF talking. Yeah, I thought Tony said that was a no-no. I mean, what are you going to do? As long as he doesn't get charged with assault, what are you going to do? How is he going to buy them? Well, yeah, that indictment could be coming soon. But anyway, could be. Speculation. Allegedly. Yeah, this was, I don't know how else to say it. This was a banger episode of Dynamite. Guys, we're heading down the home stretch because I am winded from talking all this professional wrestling. We will be doing this more often, though. Are they trying to build up Daniel Garcia as the next AEW star? I mean, I think so. Like, that was very clear from what they did in that main event segment. The three people that they had in the ring, Daniel Garcia, MJF, and Will Ospreay, I think this was this was a moment where they told you, like, these are the guys. These are our three pillars, for lack of a better term, for the next like 10, 15 years, whatever. I think that's kind of what they made clear. Job says Tony doesn't want wrestlers pushing fans. I don't think he wants that either, but MJF's just gonna do what MJF does. It is what it is, right? Again, I think what he did last night, it definitely went over a line. You should not be like breaking people's phones. That's kind of crazy, but you know, I mean, like tossing trash in their direction without necessarily hitting them, getting in a fan's face who actually got in his face. That's, I think, fair game. But look, I think it furthered that vibe, right? It furthered that vibe. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about the fans. Fuck the fans. He's MJF. Is Ricky Starks done then? I don't know what you're referring to, but we do not have an update on Ricky's contract. He did post a picture that was taken by AEW's photographer last night, so we'll see. Maybe he was at the show and we didn't know. Never know. Man, guys, this has been a fun time. We got Stryker in the chat. Good to see you, Stryker. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, we're heading down the home stretch. I'll be here for like another 5 minutes, and then I gotta go. Probably I should go to the gym. I'm gonna go to the gym. Oh, this is actually a good time to plug this. So, guys, tonight today at some point, you will be getting the world premiere of. Let me move myself over here. AEW Forbidden Door vlog. I went to Forbidden Door. No longer behind a paywall. The Patreon stuff is going to be going away. Going to be taking YouTube memberships pretty soon. But for now, nothing behind a paywall. But AEW Forbidden Door vlog, the feeling got restored. That is coming today. Originally, I was going to have it scheduled for tonight, but I might just release it during the day. So be sure you subscribe to check that out. It's like a 25-minute vlog. Share my thoughts. You get to see my perspective on some of these matches, some of these moments, and also review the chicken tenders at UBS Arena. Spoiler alert. I've definitely had better. But yeah, Forbidden Door vlog. Where is it? Oh, I gotta. There we go. Oh man, this is really bad. Anyway, let's just put it like over here. I don't know. Probably just make it smaller. Boom. Anyway, so go check that out, guys. Later today, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you get notified when that's released and when one of our daily videos is released, guys. I take a lot of pride in keeping y'all informed, updated on the latest news and all things professional wrestling. So, shout out to y'all though. Y'all are the reason I do this. Obviously, I mean, like, I'll be so real with y'all. Like, past like 2 months have been the most successful for the channel from a views standpoint. So I really appreciate y'all for supporting. I appreciate every single one of you for showing out and like just staying tuned to all these videos. Like, it makes covering this stuff a lot like more fulfilling for me, knowing that people are watching and enjoying. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Striker says, you were at Forbidden Door and SmackDown, right? Yep, I was at both. I did not do I didn't capture a lot of footage of SmackDown, to be honest, because I just wanted to that was my first time being at Madison Square Garden, and not first time, but it was the first time I was in a real seat, because before I was all the way up in, the high. Look, I'll be real with y'all. I'm someone who was very used to, for a very long time, being up in the cheap seats for wrestling shows, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. But once I got to the lower bowl, the 100s, now I don't think I can go back. It's the best place. Like, the floor, don't ever sit on the floor. Literally, unless you're first row, it's not worth sitting on the floor unless you really want the seat or whatever, and it's pay-per-view. And by seat, I mean the physical chair, because sometimes they have memorabilia, like collector's chairs. But those 100s, those are always going to be the best seats. But yeah, I got to experience that, and it was a fun show. It's great to see all the sea of people. Someone recognized me, which is really interesting. They're like, you're that guy from YouTube, right? And I was like, maybe, yes. But that was cool. Shout out to that person. Joe says, thank you for keeping it real when it comes to wrestling and letting people know AEW is a better show. I mean, look, this week it was for sure. Who's a better wrestler, Adam Copeland or Daniel Bryan? Look, I love Cope. Can't even lace Bryan's boots, though. Come on, let's be honest. Bryan's the GOAT. But no. Jokes aside, I think Bryan Danielson's the best to ever do it. That's just my opinion. Found your channel, and you're doing amazing. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, Striker. Really appreciate you. Guys, this was a very fun review. As always, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out the vlog later today when it publishes. We've got a bunch of videos in the works. Also, guys, go over to youtube.com/WrestleVibes. At WrestleVibe, that's where I post the more docu-style, almost quick take content. I don't know how to explain it. We're moving towards more docu-style content over there. But getting up to almost 900 subscribers. Of course, like I think we're at 871 right now. So I just put a video out, like kind of talking about MJF and the heel turn, why it was so important. So you want to go check that out, please go do that. Leave a thumbs up on there, and leave a thumbs up on all the videos you watch, guys. I know it's like a weird thing, but like when you leave a thumbs up, that really helps the channel grow, helps more people see it in the algorithm, because it's you guys like showing your support. And like, you don't have to pay anything, obviously, but that thumbs up, it helps more than you know. So whenever you're watching a video, even if you're just like clicking out of it after like 2 seconds, at least it's from one of my channels, definitely hit that like button. It really helps out. And now I am done chilling. But not for Bryan Danielson, because you asked me who my favorite wrestler is. It's the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. He's the greatest. I don't get. Here's the thing, and I've told this story before. So I've been to one like wrestling press conference under the Real Take name, and it was the post. It was like I did media for Wrestle Dream last year. AEW hasn't allowed me back in, but I've done like media stuff before, and you know, like I've worked in like spaces where you meet like prominent people, like politicians, senators, and I've never been starstruck. I've never been like starstruck to the point where I'm like, I don't know what to say, like, or anything. And at no point in that media scrum was I was like chilling. I was like asking my questions, all that kind of stuff. And then Bryan comes in, and I immediately go like like all the questions move my body. Like, he's the only person who's ever made me starstruck, because he's the greatest wrestler of all time. I like that is, and like the personal way he's impacted me is really cool too. So shout out to Bryan. You're the GOAT, bro. You're not seeing this, but you're the GOAT. Mine is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is a fantastic wrestler, man. Fantastic wrestler. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you. As I said before, y'all are the reason I keep doing this. So appreciate you. Thank you. And until next time, be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.